What's good, everybody? This is Ryan Johnson with MoneyBass.com. What is going on, guys? I know you have seen the title of tonight's live stream and you have seen that thumbnail. So we're going to get straight into it tonight, guys. We're going to get into this topic that seems to keep coming up over and over again. And as you come into the chat, please hit a 1 in the chat for me. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay and see me okay. And like I said, we are going to get into this topic and we'll see what you guys have to say. So I have a few guys that I will be bringing up on the screen, and you guys, the viewers, of course, you can chime in with your thoughts, opinions, just what you have experienced or what you have seen surrounding this topic also. I see it. Okay, I see those ones coming into the chat. All right, really appreciate that, guys. So earlier today, I was out on the water. You guys know I do a weekly thing where I'll get out there on the water, live on the water. So I'm chatting with the fellas, trying to catch a few fish. I mean, it doesn't always turn out that way, but it's still a good time. So, the topic came up about this co-angler issue and the boater issue, but I can guarantee you guys this thing. Today, I will single-handedly solve the problem of what the issue is with the co-anglers out on the boats during these tournaments. Just joking, just joking. But I will solve the issue of what the boaters, all of these problems with boaters during these tournaments that you're having with them out there on these boats. Okay, no, just joking. I don't think we're going to solve anything tonight, guys, but I think we will have some differences of opinion, some thoughts, some suggestions, all of those things. So where you may be feeling one way about a certain side of things, maybe that'll shift just a little bit. We'll see. But as always, I like to get into it. I always share, different thoughts and opinions because there's always room for us to grow and learn something from each other, guys, and, have a little bit of fun with it. So that's what this is going to be all about, guys. And as you check into the chat, make sure you get active with the poll that we have listed. So earlier today, we had a poll of the question at that time was, are the majority of complaints that you hear from the co-angler side of things, are the majority of those complaints legitimate, or do you think that they're kind of, not legitimate complaints? And so that poll, it was kind of interesting. On the boater side, it seems like they were split 50-50, but believe it or not, on the co-angler side, the co-angler co-anglers themselves were saying that the majority of complaints that co-anglers have are not legitimate complaints. So yeah, so that was kind of what we got into. But for this evening, let me just go ahead and take a look at the poll real quick just to see how we started off and then how it may change throughout the evening. All right, and like I said, guys, we're going to get straight into this live stream. I have some people that I will be pulling up on the screen, and I have a video that we are going to be reviewing. So I'll shout that out in just a minute. And for you guys that saw the live stream a little earlier today when I was out on the water, maybe you have gone ahead and seen that video clip. But for the poll for this evening, hold on one second. Here we go. All right. Does a well-skilled / versatile co-angler or a less skilled / versatile co-angler have more complaints? So which side do you think is going to have more complaints? And what we're talking about as far as complaints is, for me, the majority of things that I hear as far as I would say not being able to catch fish or catching fish as far as from the co-angler side. So that's what we're referring to. And I saw I see CT, he's already getting active. Shout out to Cerebral Tackle, guys. He's going to come up on here to have a few things to say about it. But let's see, what was his question in here? All right, so he says he wants some clarification. CT wants some clarification on the poll that we have going on. All right, so he says volume of complaints or validity of complaints. We're talking about volume. We're talking about the overall numbers, because you always hear complaints that co-anglers are lodging or they discuss among each other. When I was a co-angler, I would be within that group and I would hear the complaints that co-anglers would have. So whether they're so you said volume of complaints versus validity. The validity of it sometimes is kind of outweighed by the numbers and the things that you are hearing that the co-anglers are saying. So we're gonna shed some light on a few things. Hopefully, what we'll do in the in this process is help some guys out on the co-angler side and on the boater side, guys. So that's what we want to get out of this, and have a little fun with it. Have a little fun with it. So I hope that clarified the poll for you, CT. But let's go ahead and hop into the chat real quick and give a few shout outs. See who we have checking in. And guys, remember, there is a younger generation of anglers that are getting into the game. So you always want to keep that in mind. We have some young ears that are watching some of these MoneyBass live streams, guys. So we want to keep those youngsters in mind too with some of the comments that may be coming in. All right, so let's see. Who do we have checking in? Shout out to Tim Williams. He says, good afternoon, Cerebral and Money. Oh yeah, we're in the chat, man. We're getting active in here. Then CT says the volume of complaints or validity. So I clarified that for you. All right. And CT says, hello there, Tim Williams. All right. And we have a member of the Money Team checking in. Shout out to Greg. All right. For anybody that does not know right offhand, the members of the Money Team are the members of the channel. So you will notice that there is a badge right next to his name. And basically what that means, he is a member of the channel. And that number that you notice right next to that name gives you an indication of how long they have been a member that is supporting the channel. So shout out to Greg. Really, really appreciate that. And for anybody that is interested in becoming a member or supporting the channel, just click the join button that is that you can see right below the video. And that will bring up some information, kind of give you, some perks that come along with that. One of which, it will make you stand out in the chat. So you will see that badge next to your name. And whenever we are doing our lives, the live streams, and especially the live streams on the water, the Money Team and the super chats, I try to make sure that I always bring you guys up on the screen and give you your shout out and get your, your comments read. So that is some things that go along with that. All right, then we have CT in here giving some shout outs. All right, and we have Cajun Rob checking in. Cajun Rob is out there cashing checks, making regionals. He's fishing Toyota series and all of that stuff on the co-angler end. So yeah, I'm going to be interested in hearing what Cajun Rob has to say. Shout out to you, Cajun Rob. All right, and also shout out to Ivy Moore. And that reminds me, shout out to the Facebook crew. Let me make sure the Facebook crew is over here live and in action. Just bear with me, guys. Hold on just a minute. All right, I see you guys are over here. Let me go ahead and make this live for you guys and update this. Just a few preliminary things we always have to do, guys, to make sure everything is up and running right. I want to make sure everybody can participate. All right, so here we go. All right, let's see who else we have checking in. Shout out to Joe Winkler. Joe Winkler, member of the Money Team and very big supporter of the channel. Shout out to Joe Winkler. Really appreciate it. And want to give another shout out to Joe Winkler and Cerebral Tackle. They were the sponsors of the On the Water live stream a little earlier today. And what that is, guys, for people that may just be checking in, let me just drop this banner on here real quick also. So each week, whoever gives the largest super chat, super sticker during the live stream, they are the sponsor of that live stream because the channel is supported by you guys, the viewers and subscribers of the channel. So big shout out to you guys. And also let me update that banner because we had a dual, no, actually, Joe Winkler, I think he had got bumped earlier by CT. CT was like, oh, hey, this topic we're going to be talking about, it has me heated in here. I think I need to sponsor this one. So let me just update this real quick. And if you notice at the bottom of the screen, that banner that is scrolling along, it says special thank you so much to the sponsor of the show. Right now, it is Cerebral Tackle because whoever sponsored the previous live stream, it carries over into the next live stream until we get that next super chat or super sticker. So shout out to that. Really appreciate it. All right. And let me see. Let me hop back into the chat real quick. Okay, all right, I can get caught up real quick, and then we'll go ahead and hop straight into. Let me see. Maybe we'll bring a few guests up real quick, and then what we will do is review the video footage with the guys on the screen. We'll do it that way. All right, so let's see. Joe Winkler says that was a fun trip to the lake today. Had a ball watching you. Thanks, MoneyBass. Oh yeah, man. I had fun. I mean, I was only able to get one of those fishes to the boat. I like saying it like that sometimes, fishes. But yeah, I mean, just one of those days. I mean, how many did I miss, guys? I missed like 3 or 4 fish. The fish that got away stories. Everybody has 1 or 2 of those when they go out on the lake. All right, then CT says clarification needed for the poll. Okay, I think I already got to you on that one. If you need more clarification, just make sure you drop that in the chat again. But I'll bring you up in just a second. And guess what, guys? We're gonna have Cajun Rob step on up here. We need somebody who's casting some checks on the co-angler end. I'm pretty sure he's ran into a lot of situations out there. So we're gonna see what he has to say. All right, so Cajun Rob says, CT, I saw a co at a BFL. An older gent asked his boater if he was going to live scope all day. His boater said yes. He walked off the dock and left. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is terrible. That is bad, bad business. Oh my goodness. All right, but that does bring up another question, guys. In the event where you have someone who does something like that, they have signed up, because what if the boater did that? What if this co-angler has traveled from out of town, paid all of his fees, paid for his hotel, all of these expenses, and that boater said, hey man, he asked him a question like that, and the boater says, the co-angler gives him an answer, and the boater says, well, hey, I'm not fishing today. And he just leaves. Should that organization still allow someone that is the level of respect that they have for that organization, that they will now take off and leave that other person in that situation? What do you guys think? For me, I think that should just be expelled from that organization. I would not allow someone who does something like that on the boater side or the co-angler side to fish in something that I would be hosting. That's just ugly. But what do you guys think? Like I said, I always like to get differences of opinions in here, because sometimes people may say that's a little too hard. Some people may say, hey, that's you're letting them off light, with that. But yeah, so what do you guys think about that one? Let me just read it one more time so you guys can, know exactly what we're talking about. So Cajun Rob said he saw a co-angler at a BFL, an older gent, ask his boater if he was going to live scope all day. His boater said yes. The co-angler walked off the boat, off the dock, got in his vehicle, and left and went home. Oh my goodness. What do you think? Should there be any consequences to somebody who does that after, because you're putting that other person in a bad position, because now they're about to lose their funds as well. All right, CT says, got it. Easily, less skilled. All right, there we go. All right, Joe Winkler says, less because they have a very high expectation, and when it isn't easy, they start complaining. All right, so yeah, that's going to be kind of interesting, guys. All right, so CT says at Cajun Raw Fishing, that does change the game for the co. If the boater is good with the communication, that's cool. If the angler doesn't want a backseater, then fish elsewhere. Okay. All right, we have Chauncey Davis checking in. Okay, we have somebody else on the co-angler side. Big shout out to Chauncey Davis. He says, I'm on deck, fam. Shout out to you. Really appreciate you chiming in. All right, CT says the co isn't supposed to help the angler fund his trail. Okay, the co isn't supposed to help the angler fund his trail. Yeah, I need some clarification on that one right there. All right, then we have Cajun Rob says, or make his boat payment. CT. Okay, all right. So you guys are kind of seeing eye to eye on this. This is going to be kind of interesting. All right, so Ivy Moore, shout out to the money team once again. He says, if I'm catching more fish than my boater, I'm good. Take that payment. All right, there we go. All right, let me see just a few more chats real quick, and then I will go ahead and pull some guy. I will drop the link in the chat. So CT and Cajun Rob, I'll go ahead and start off with you guys first. And what I will do is, once we have reviewed some of the footage that I want to show you guys, and we get our thoughts and opinions out there, then I'll drop the link again. And if anybody that's in the chat wants to hop in, we can have a quick little panel and see how that goes. We'll try something a little different, guys. All right, so CT says exactly Cajun Rod Fishing. He says, oh, I've got a story for you on that. I was once billed $600 itemized to include boat payment, insurance, batteries, etc. for a one-day tournament. What does that mean? How are you going to receive a bill? What are they going to do? Take you to collections if you don't pay? All right, so shout out to Texas Noop. He says, what's up, money? Ah, man, don't be in here trying to act all nice now. Out here talking about you need a funeral suit to put on earlier because I only caught one fish. Shout out to that. All right, Cajun Rob. Okay, Cajun Rob. All right. Let's see. CT says, yeah, Rob, one guess what I told him. Bet you get it right. All right, let's see. Here we go, guys. I almost caught up. Ivy Moore says, I should get that money from the boater or the co-angler if he leaves. So in a BFL, maybe you're familiar with it, but if that co-angler leaves, then you cannot fish that tournament. They won't let you fish a BFL by yourself. You would have to try to find a marshal or somebody that they would allow, that they would authorize to be on that boat with you. So if that co-angler leaves, then you're done. So if you paid that $300 and something entry fee, or depending on what type of tournament it is, and that co-angler just jets or takes off, all that practice, all that hotel, all of that time and effort that you have put into it is done. It's over. All right. So hope that clarifies that. CT says, MoneyBass, if the boater is fishing anyway, then he's not losing money. Come on, CT. Come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see. Ivy Moore says, I give the boater $40 for gas, but I have been in a boat with somebody that I guess didn't like me, and he went in rough water and he caused me to break my wrist. Yeah, now that is rough right there. So yeah, okay, I see you, CT. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this one with you, CT. All right, he says, Ivy Moore, same here. He knocked stitches out of my mouth. Good Lord. Okay, you guys, you're on a different level with the issue. That is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about death and broken wrist and knocking teeth out and all that kind of stuff. We're just saying just the normal side of things as far as the complaints that you may hear as far as not being in fishable water, boat positioning, stuff like that. But it's interesting to hear some of these things that you guys are saying, because a broken wrist, that is kind of rough right there. Check it out. Check it out. We have Eat Squawk checking in. Says, I have actually heard a boater say he didn't win any because his co was catching all his fish. Yeah, that to me would be an indication of a less skilled boater. If a boater is, yeah, that one, yeah, that to me can be flopped with that same question that's in the poll. Sometimes you may deal with a less skilled boater or a higher skilled boater. If a boater is saying that, that sounds like that boater just wasn't doing something quite right. So let me read the rest of it. It says, my question was, wait a sec, didn't you have the first shot at those fish? All right, all right. Each squawk knows exactly what's going on with that. All right, CT says, MoneyBass, I'll explain what I mean. Sounds good. Each squawk says, let me say AOY, not any. All right, let's get these last two in here. So CT says, let me see, a boater is a boater. And Ivy Moore says, well, it's different down south, but I'm up here in the Midwest. It's a lot different. Oh yeah, down south. We do things a little different down here in the south. All right, so let me without further ado, let me drop this link in here. Let me drop this link, guys. You know, I always get in the chat and have a good time with you, even when we're doing the lives on the water. If I hop into the chat, sometimes I forget I'm out there competing, guys. I'll get in the chat and start talking away. All right, so I dropped the link in the chat. So CT and Cajun Rob Fishing. If you guys can hit that link, I will see you come up backstage, and then I will bring you up. Hey, we can go ahead and get into this. We can get into it, guys. All right, let's see what else we have. Ivy Moore says, let me see, that was Eat Squawk says, but that's what we're dealing with. Oh yeah. I mean, hey, everybody has complaints, but sometimes where are those complaints coming from? Is it because of lack of skill level, more skill level? I'm pretty sure there's multiple things that could be going on. But as you guys come into the chat, like I said, please take a look at the poll, guys. We try to make this an interactive live stream so we can have a lot of fun with it, have some entertainment along with, a little bit of education going on with it. So yeah, make sure you guys take a look at that poll. So the question of the evening is, does a well-skilled / versatile co-angler or a less skilled / versatile co-angler have more complaints? Which side of things do you think is going to bring in more complaints to the other one? Who is this checking in? Shout out to Vernon Neal checking in. Really appreciate you coming into the live stream. We have Cajun Rob shouting him out. All right, so Cajun Rob and CT, I have dropped a link in the chat. So if you click on that link, it will bring you backstage. Once I see you backstage, then I can bring you up on the screen. And from there, what I will do is I have a video queued up, and we're just going to step through a few of the points that this boater made during his video and just get some opinions from the co-angler side, from the boater side, and we'll be jumping into the chat and seeing what you guys have to say. All right, so just let me know in the chat. CT, okay, I see CT is in. CT is up and in action. And Cajun Rob, if you're having any issues with it, just let me know. Okay, I guess not. I see him backstage. All right, so we're gonna get into it, guys. We have Al Smalls checking in. What's going on? Really, really appreciate you checking into the live stream. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's see. We have CT checking in.
All right. Can you hear me over? Oh, here, let me do something here real quick. I don't want to screw up the audio here.
All right, so the audio is coming in.
Echo?
No echo. Everything sounds good so far.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, shout out to Cajun Rob. All right, and Cajun Rob, are you able to turn your camera landscape?
Yeah, you'll be able to.
Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. So we can see you a little bit better. All right, guys. All right. So tell me your initial thoughts. Let's go ahead and start off with CT. CT was out there, had steam coming from his head earlier today when I was out.
Darn right.
So what is going on? What is the intro? What is your intro?
Let's see. Here's the deal. We have a bunch of folks that I would consider good, knowledgeable boaters that have a heart and love the sport and love promoting the sport. And those guys, what I've noticed, that those fellows have a strong propensity not to understand how the other side works. Because there are some boaters out there. When you said that, the breaking the wrist and stuff is really in a different part of what we're talking about. In my opinion, not really. It's the same, because to me, a person who's going to be a prick, for lack of words that I can't say on YouTube, they're going to do it regardless. And it goes across all elements of being out that day. It's boat positioning. It's how they talk to their co-angler. It's how they treat them in general. It's a whole 9 yards. And I've seen it. Like that whole thing when I was talking about getting billed. I'm going to tell you right here, right now. The man come up to me at the meeting, presented me an itemized list, broke down what I'm not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. Broke down. I wish I could name names. Oh, holy hell, do I wish I could name names.
Did you?
He gave me an itemized. I would drop a dime on him in a heartbeat. I ain't even kidding. I hate the dude, but he gave me an itemized list that broke down over the course of the year what his insurance would be, his boat batteries, his maintenance, mileage on his vehicle, on his tow vehicle, the whole 9 yards. And I looked him dead in the eyes and told him to go procreate with himself. I mean, it was just like, nope.
All right, so for the youngsters that are watching the live stream, procreate. You can Google that. It's you might learn a little something with that one right there. But you'll get.
I was knocked over, and this same dude, Eat Squawk dropped a comment about it. This same dude took a 16-year-old, drew a 16-year-old kid out one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, this one was a 2-day tournament where he drew this kid. Forced the kid to use the baits that he was using, then build them for him.
Okay, so listen, this is what I mean by that is on a different level, because if you were to look at all of the majority of complaints that co-anglers generally have, a broken wrist, somebody dying, somebody getting a bill and stuff, I would say that part is kind of minuscule. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Generally, yes and no, but that goes to my point of the same guys are pulling the same stunts. The same guys are gonna be the guys not giving fair boat position. Those same jerks. It's that personality type is going to be the same person doing all the stuff that co-anglers will complain about. Now, granted, I completely agree that less skilled co-anglers will have more complaints because they haven't had that trial by fire. They haven't got their skins on the wall. They haven't been through it. They don't know what to expect. So yeah, they're going to go into this. Man, Rob, you hit it out of the, I think it was you that was talking about expectations, right? Yeah, dead on. The expectations are going to be different. And so they're going to go into this thinking, oh yeah, This is going to be easy. Going to put it on fish all day. And then when it doesn't happen, those dudes are going to have a rough time until they get the hang of it, without question.
Gotcha.
But the flip side of that is, how many times have us co-anglers heard a boater say, "I'm going to play guide all day"? You know what? Please, if you were a guide, you'd be making guide money doing guide stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. All right. So listen, that is Cerebral Tackle's introduction. So you see where he's leaning on the side of things. So like I said, we're going to try to mix it up with a few, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But real quick, guys, gotta stop the show. We have Stephen Walden stepping in, giving some support to the channel. He has hit the channel with the $5 super sticker. So just bear with me real quick. He has me getting in here doing a little bit of work. And like I say, each week, whoever gives the largest super sticker, super chat during the live stream, they are the sponsor of that live stream. So right now we have Stephen Walden. And actually, I might need to bring him up on here because he's out there. And actually, Cajun Rob and Stephen Walden, you guys might know each other because Stephen fishes all over the place. And he's linked up with Bass University. So he's out there doing it big too, just like Cajun Rob. All right, so now if you guys take a look down at the bottom of the screen, that banner now says special thank you so much to the sponsor of the stream, Stephen Walden. Special shout out to you. Really, really appreciate that. All right, so let me hop back in here to the chat real quick. All right, so let's get in. Cajun Rob, what is your intro? What are your thoughts on this topic? What do you have to say about it?
Man, there's some crazy stories out there, G. But I'll give you a quick one. Just talking about boaters have co-anglers drop out. I've had 2 boaters. One I know was sick. It was not the COVID year. I get a call 4 o'clock in the morning, tournament day. Guy says, "Hey man, I'm at the hospital. I got COVID." And I had a boater linked like 3 months before. Lost all my partners out and got left out that day.
Oh man! So did you stay home or did you go ahead to the tournament and just wait to see if maybe there was an opening?
The tournament director said, "I'll call during the openings." Of course, they didn't get a call, which I kind of expected that. So, but they do give you an option to refund your money, or you can pay it to make the wild card or whatever. So,
gotcha.
They do give that option, but yeah. But I guess for the younger guys, rule number 1, hey, easy. Golden rule, man. Treat your boater like you want to be treated, man. Don't leave a mess in his boat. Always try to give my boater gas money at the first of the day when we launch out. I used to at the in-person meetings, but give your boater 40, 50, 60 bucks, at least 40 minimum.
Gotcha.
And amen to that.
Yeah. And
amen to that.
That puts you on a good, good start with your boater. Boater don't have to worry about the end of the day. Hey, is this man going to stiff me up? I've had some friends that's boaters got stiffed, like coasting.
Lost Cajun Rob. Are you back?
Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
yeah, I did too.
I've had some friends that's boaters that was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to my truck and get you the money," and then vanish. So,
oh man,
yeah,
that's not good.
But yeah, I mean,
we had that happen one time. Yeah.
And,
we had to pull a kid aside.
Yeah,
we had to pull a kid aside who did that one time, have a little discussion with him that's not what you do.
No, that's kind of golden rule. I mean, one of the basic rules,
Yeah, and so so with that issue that you said, as far as the person was sick, obviously that's a little more understandable than the guy who just said, "What are we doing? Oh, you're going to be fishing fast, or you're going to be using live scan, or you're fishing offshore, or you're going to be punching all day." Boom, I'm gone. You're not fishing how I want to fish, so I'm going to leave. Do you think there should be some type of? I mean, there could be. I don't really know, but do you think are there consequences for somebody who does that? And if not, do you think there should be? Because that person is out of a lot of time and money whenever that person walks off like that.
Yeah, there was some talk about the wild card. Wild card, you got day 2, and I've heard of boaters 0 to day 1 didn't show up on day 2, and there was talk about some consequences, but all that ever come about. But that's the only thing I ever heard.
Yes.
See, consequence-wise. I'm split on that. To me, that's completely situational. Yep. Because, and I say that, no, don't get me wrong, the exceptions are few and far between. Don't mistake me. Just like I don't think a boater should leave a high and dry. I think, especially in situations like y'all fish, where there needs to be links and whatnot, you can't do it the other way around neither. But let's say you got, that whole mention about the gentleman with the live scope, that brings up an interesting thought I hadn't thought of before. Like, let's say in a situation where that boater's gonna be live scoping all day and not giving any communication to the guy in the back of the boat, not sharing. It's like the tactic itself isn't the problem. It's the communication, it's the fairness, and it's the boat positioning. If he still splits that up even reasonably well, even doesn't even have to be 50-50. I mean, 60-40, maybe even 70-30. But if he's willing to at least split that up for him some and communicate with him, I don't see a problem with that as a code. That's your lumps, you take it. You're in the back of somebody else's boat, you show that respect, you show up, you do it. But no, if he's up there trying to hog that 100% and be, and you know what, all day, then walking, that's just karma. That's just FAFO. That's all that is.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I would have a zero tolerance with that. If somebody just walked off and left that person, whether it's the boater or the co-angler side, for me, I couldn't see them being allowed to come back to that organization, because that, to me, that's more than disrespecting just that person.
It is a sportsmanship.
Yeah, that's disrespecting the organization as a whole for someone to do that. Also, because now not only does either that boater or co-angler that's just left out. I mean, just think of how, well, in Cajun Rob's situation, it was different because the guy was sick. But in a situation where that person just was allowed to just walk off lead and they don't have any consequences, I may be thinking about that if I'm about to make a 4 or 5 hour ride out and I know this organization is not going to have my back and will just let me have, I've driven way up there. I've spent money on hotel, entry fee, all of that. And I just have to watch that leave, and that organization isn't going to do anything about it. To me,
that's
and like
true
I said, I don't know if what organization does or doesn't know. I'm just saying, just in general, any organization that would allow their participants to be treated that way and allow somebody to disrespect the organization that way, that wouldn't be a good look for that organization. So I would think that there should be something in place just across the board.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it falls under sportsmanship rule 110%. No doubt about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I meant it was an extreme situation, I mean, it would have to be an extreme situation. It would be one of those where you show up and you basically find out you two are not going to see eye to eye all day. It's going to be miserable for both of you. And I mean, I'm all about the co-angler not being bullied. That's it. That's all I'm out for.
Gotcha.
Past that, it's gravy. You got what I'm saying? Because it's about respecting the guy in the front of the boat, about taking care of his bass. I used to kiss my boaters' butts. I took better care of them because y'all have seen me. I ain't no small dude. Now, granted, I was a lot smaller back then, but I understood having me in the back of the boat could be more of a burden. So I was going to make sure I got on the right side of them. Yep. And I was going to absolutely kiss their butt all day long and be the best co-angler they had all freaking year, because I wanted that reputation as that guy, not as the other guy. And so whenever I would go that extra mile and then somebody act like that to me, oh yeah, it's on. I mean, at that point, the story changes. But it took a lot, because I mean, I think the majority, I think 99% of the boaters I've been with will tell you I took immaculate care of them, and I was proud of that. That 1%, and 1%, those are guys that had issues with me anyway. They didn't like me because I was a big dude. It was all that going on, and it was going to be rough all day anyway. But it's the small minority.
Gotcha. All right, guys, we got to stop the show. We have a local celebrity checking in. Everybody knows him from these YouTube streets. We have the Bass Geek checking in. He says, I hate co-angling. The boaters were great, lugging all my crap around, dealing with other people's truck and boat, trying to find people in the dark. Doesn't like it. So he's not down with the co-angling side of things. So shout out to that. All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at this poll real quick. So right now, I would say the reason why I put the poll this way is because when we think about the majority of complaints that you just hear on a regular basis, they're mostly gonna gear around that co-angler feeling like they weren't able to catch fish for whatever reason, boat positioning, the style of fishing that the boater is doing, Sometimes you just get linked up with a boater that is a beginner that doesn't really know much. I mean, they have the funds. They want to go out there and just enjoy just that tournament experience, the blast off, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to fishing, maybe even for themselves, they're not able to position the boat in a way to where it's useful for either one of them. So that can be a part of it too. But that is what I had in mind. Just those average, the general complaints that you hear on a regular basis from co-anglers. So the poll is, does a well-skilled or versatile co-angler or a less skilled or versatile co-angler have more complaints? And so the first one is, a more skilled versatile co-angler would have more complaints. We have 45%. What? 45% saying that a more skilled co-angler would have more complaints. I don't know about that one. All right, then we have 55% are chiming in with the less skilled. But right now we're up to 20 votes. But I mean, we're sitting at a good amount of people in here. And guys, please make sure you hit the like button. It really does help the channel. I see we have a nice amount of guys in here. Let me just double check on the likes real quick. Let's just see. Let's see. You guys think we're good on the likes? No, we are not good on the likes. They're looking kind of, you know how you catch those bass sometimes the head is real big and the body is small. Right now, that is what that is how my likes are looking. So we need to get those fish fed. How about
Money?
Can I get about 3 more likes, guys? Really appreciate it.
Hey, Money, do you mind if I ask a quick question on the chat that may turn that poll as to why we're seeing that? Because that is kind of surprising. I agree with you.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
I'm wondering, guys that said that the more skilled co-angler would have the more complaints. I'm thinking the psychology behind that would be maybe what I saw when I very first read it, and that's that maybe it's because a more skilled co-angler is going to understand when they're getting screwed over more than a less skilled, because they have the skins on the wall, because they have the time on the water. They may be willing to call it out more when they've seen it, because they have put in their time and paid their dues, literally and figuratively. And that might be that. That's just an assumption, but I'm thinking that might be what some folks are thinking. That'd be the only way I could see that poll being that close. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because from my point of view, the way that I'm looking at, because I mean, I was a co-angler for 2 years, and just my mindset of going into it, wherever the boat stopped at, I would just grab my poles and start fishing. I was in a situation one time where the boater is driving, and we're actually at Lake Russell, so it's kind of a deep lake in some places. So it's during blast off. We blast off and we run, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes. We didn't really go that far, and the boat comes off plane, and I look over and it's about 80 feet. We're about 80 feet of water, right? I hop up and he's sitting here fidgeting with something at the console, but I've already hopped up and grabbed my pole, and he turns around and looks, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "The boat stopped." I was like, "It's time for me to try to catch fish." And then he was like, I didn't stop because I was going to fish here. I stopped because my motor, something happened with my motor. And I was like, "Oh, hey, well, I'll still stay back here and fish till you figure out what's going on. You never know, I might get something." So for me, my mindset was always just focus on whatever the conditions are that I am placed in. That is what I have to deal with. And I don't know, sometimes I think it may have something to do with, different people's background and things that they have experienced in life, to where how you view things. Whatever hand you are dealt with, you can either complain about it or you can get out there and do your best to make things happen, make the best out of that situation. So for me, that's kind of how I viewed it. So a lot of times my responses are going to be from that mindset. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that, Cajun Rob? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point, CT. One of my good buddies, I know you know him, Gary Haraguchi, one of the best co-anglers ever been. I run into him at Del Hollow this year, and he only had 2 fish, which is rare for Gary. And I said, "Hey, man, what happened?" And he said, "Oh, man, I just had a guy, live scoping." And he said, "But I still had 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, just positive, smiling, never complained, man." So, I mean, somebody, his experience, as much money as that guy's won, always seems smiling, always positive. So he's been a real big influence on me. And I said, guys, just stay positive. I've been in tournaments. Ovesky, I saw him at Del Hollow, and we had 4 to 5 foot rollers, and poor Ovesky had his old boat. Man, we was getting jostled around. Yeah, just always stay positive. I mean, even Gary told me, hey, there might be some days you might have 15, 20 minutes that you'll have, good access to fish. You just got to maximize your opportunities, guys. It's, I think I've been in about 100 tournaments now, and I still learn stuff every tournament.
Oh, yeah. You learn
somebody old as me.
Yeah, you learn something from everybody you fish with, whether it's good or bad. Maybe it's sometimes that's how not to do things. You learn something from everybody. And it always took a lot for me to go negative. I mean, I kissed their butts no matter how I was getting treated. Now, at the end of the day, we got back to the ramp. I may just let them know how much I did or didn't appreciate this or that as a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
When we're out there, I wasn't gonna try to mess with their flow either. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't gonna try to take them out of their game. While we were out there, it was all business. Just get it done.
Gotcha.
When we got back, we might have a talk.
Yeah, I always treat it like a team, like we're
bingo. See,
it's local, so I
can't tell you.
Yep.
I always told them I don't care if you come in first and I come in second, or vice versa. But it needs to be you and me.
Yep.
Gotcha. There you go. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is because like I told you, once I get into the chat and everything, guys, time is just flying. I'm always having fun with the live stream. So sometimes I'll be on here 3 hours and realize time has flown by so fast. But let me go ahead and share the screen, and I'm going to pull up the video that I was referring to. So what I'll do is just play a few clips out of that, and we can just kind of give our responses to it. All right, hold on 1 second. Just bear with me, guys. Let me add this to the screen. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can do it like that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is the video that I was referring to, and this comes from Matt W. Goodness, I forgot his last name, but it's Matt W. Fishing on YouTube, and he put out a video where he was discussing an issue that he recently had with a co-angler. So let me just put that back. All right, so let's just go ahead and I'll play a few different clips from here. And what I'll do is we can just go back and kind of give our thoughts and opinions on what he's saying here.
That's not your deal. Totally cool. I get it. Getting to the point. Co-angler. That's the title of the video. Worst co-angler ever, or something like that. So, the second day. This is the second day of the St. Johns River. I have a co-angler who fished with the person who did very well the first day. He had 3 bass for 7 pounds. I get that. Your draw doesn't always guarantee your success due to styles of fishing. I totally get that. So my guy had 7.5 pounds the first day. And I mean, he got paired with me, and I was in like 18th place or something with 13.7. So I need to mute this immediately. So, he was pretty much in a position where any fish that he caught would shoot him up and make him money. But anyways, first thing in the morning, I get there. I was as per.
You're muted, Money. I can't hear you.
Appreciate that. I did not. I appreciate that. All right, so let me just say that again. So that was just the intro to kind of give you guys an idea of what he's, what his experience is about to be on the water that day. They're going into day 2. His co-angler that he gets paired with has around 6 pounds or so. So he's saying that any fish that he gets will pretty much move him up a little bit so that he gets a little more money. So so I'm pretty sure Cajun Rob understands that. Some of you other guys that are out there on the co-angler side understand what's going on here. So let me just go to this second part real quick. And like I said, I'll play a few clips from here, and then we'll come back and see what we have to say about it.
Throughout the day, it was a great time. And so the deal that I was running, I will say this, was very, very shallow stuff. And I had to troll way up there in literally 1.5 feet of water. I mean, my troll motor was kicking mud a lot of the time. And I'll be honest, guys, there was a on either side of us within casting distance. We're sitting in 1.5 foot of water. In practice, I did see a couple cruisers in that area, and I did catch one off the square bill off the dock walkway in practice. But it really wasn't happening if you weren't throwing straight on the bank at the bank like I was. Which,
all right, so right there, let's talk about that real quick. So what he just hold on, let me see if I can get that back right, guys. All right, so what he just said that it really wasn't happening unless you were throwing at the bank. Now, for me, would you say that that is a fact, or is that his opinion?
I would say if he's patterned it, it's a fact. I know what you're going to say because I've heard you say it before.
Which is what?
And, you don't think that the 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. You think that it's a fish every square inch. I've heard that crap before. Yeah.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Yeah, but basically it.
No, what I'm saying is he is giving you his opinion. There's no way that he knows that for a fact. Just because that is where he was able to catch fish does not mean that somebody can't. 2 or 3 people could come right behind him and catch those fish throwing something different in a different way in that same water. Correct?
While it's possible, if he's patterned them, he's patterned them. That's the best information you have. That's what you're going off of. So you're basically...
He's patterned it for him, correct? Can he pattern his style of fishing for you or for me?
Well, let me ask you a question. Was he when he was pre-fishing, did he know he was going to have a co-angler? So yeah, he was patterned for the guy behind him too. I'm not saying it's the boater's responsibility to put a co-angler on fish. I'm saying it comes with the territory.
So I can tell you for a fact that what you said is incorrect, because he does mention that later in this video that he is not considering. He's out there fishing for him. He's out there considering what he needs to do. He is not pre-fishing, trying to figure out what that co-angler is going to do. That is that co-angler's job. And for me, when I
hold on, but if it's his water, and he's going to have to share it. If he's going to be a sportsman, he's going to be fair. And he's going to be sharing it with the co-angler. It's not about the co-angler style. The co-angler style, that co-angler's identity, that's up to him. But if he knows he's going to have a co-angler in the boat, I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. Or even, let's say he doesn't know. Let's say it's still a day of random draw. He knows there's that possibility. I'm not saying he has to hold the co-angler's hand to get him on fish.
Right.
I'm saying he is patterned. He knows what it is. And if what he's fishing, if he's not willing to give at least a half of a shot, and he's like, I don't care what the co-angler does. If he goes into that mentality, then see, I can't say things because of young ears. He's not a person I would like. I'll just say it like that, because he's one of those guys that thinks he's in that mentality. If he's just towing somebody along, he doesn't understand that co-angler's spending his hard-earned money too. And that guy, he's not there to help fund the dude's boat payment, like Cajun Rob said. Right. Or so he's got money, he's got skins in the game too.
Yeah, okay.
He's not willing to play fair.
It's okay. So I understand what you're saying, that while he is fishing, he should be thinking about what that co-angler needs to do. So if he just said that he is fishing shallow, and he said you have to be throwing at the bank. You heard him say that, right? He said you have to be throwing at the bank in order to catch the fish. What if that co-angler is able to throw a drop shot behind the boat, or they're able to throw a worm, or they're able to throw something different?
Oh, something other than he's patterned?
Yeah.
So he expected to do something other than he's patterned?
Yeah,
then he's a dick.
Because that boater has patterned for his style of fishing what he is able to do. That is what he has determined.
Let me ask you, okay. Okay, he goes on to say, hey, he's got power poles down, he's facing that dock, right? You see him facing that dock, he's got power poles down.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. And he's talked about being in such shallow water, he's kicking up mud too, right?
Right.
We've heard him say that, right?
Right.
Okay. So you mean that man doesn't know what horizontal boat positioning is? Is he so stupid he can't turn that boat sideways and drop those same power poles and pin that same spot and even put the nose of the boat at that dock right where he wants it? Can he only throw straight? Can he not turn and face left and throw left at that same target at the nose of the boat? Can he not do that?
But I need to follow what you're saying.
Just blocking the guy.
Because you lost me. So you're saying that there is a part in here where he says he is power pole down because he is trying to fish a specific area of a dock. That's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah. What I'm saying is he can do. Okay, he talked about the fish being shallow. What I'm saying is he can do that. The same thing by turning that boat parallel to that dock, dropping those poles, and him still being at the front with the prime positioning, hit that same target on that dock and leave the rest of the shallow shore that's from that mid boat back to the co-angler. But if he doesn't, and he just parks that co-angler off and BFE behind, and he has only the nose of the boat aimed at the target, then he's a selfish prick.
Okay.
Yeah, he was retying. He wasn't even fishing.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just skip to that part that we're talking about so that we can understand. Because I did want to try to find some areas where I could show some different boat positionings and things like that.
See, it's his video, and he's putting a nice little short skirt on it and putting some lipstick on it, expecting us to kiss it. But the devil's in the details.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. Okay,
he
here
called himself out in his own video.
All right, hold on. I'll go ahead and skip to that part because I found it. Okay, hold on. Here we go, guys. All right, guys in the chat. And man, listen, I'm trying to get to the chat too, guys. I'll try to get back to it, but let's go ahead and skip to the meat. Let's skip to the juice of this video. All right, hold on. Let me just share the screen again, guys. All right, here we go. So this is what we're referring to. So right now he was fishing a specific dock, and he gets hung on something. And so from what what you and Cajun Rob are saying is that he should turn that boat and allow that co-angler to fish that dock while he's retying. Is that what you're saying?
No, he doesn't even have to fish the dock. No, not at all. What I'm saying is, let's say he turns that boat there to the right, where that nose of that boat is still right up there where he wants to throw. It still gives that co-angler that dock that's to the left adjacent and all that shore. The co-angler right here, as this boat's sitting right here, let's say it's an 18-foot boat. That means that poor co-angler has to throw at an angle and an additional 18 feet to hit that shallow water. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's take a look.
Whereas here, he could turn that boat. He could turn that boat to the right where it's parallel there to the bank. He can fish that dock, have that dock prime real estate up there to himself all he wants. But by turning it that way, getting it parallel, it allows that co-angler to hit those shallow water, those ones that he said were stragglers in between. His words going off of what he's saying. And there was an adjacent dock over there too.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right, he has it sped up. Let me just stop real quick. Okay, so the way that the boat is positioned right now, from what you're saying, is the other dock is not in a. So there's a dock that's apparently towards the back of the boat right now, right? Is that correct?
That's my understanding. From what he said there was another dock over there. We can't see it up ahead to the past that dock, so that means it's going to be behind to the left. And he said there were the fish are shallow. You know, you only catch them shallow, and that there were stragglers between the two docks. If he wants to fish that dock, he can have it all to himself by turning that boat to the right a little bit. All he has to do is face that dock, still hit the same, and that co-angler can fish all around and be just if I say, there you go, hog catcher, there you go. See, devil's in the details. The man can dress up his video, but his own video sells him out.
Shout out to Hog Catcher. Hog Catcher is going to be out here on Sunday, guys. He's going to be one of the guys out here on Sunday live with our Battle of the Anglers. So he's chiming in. So he's agreeing with what CT is saying. And I'm listening, and I'm just trying to follow along just to make sure I'm understanding the viewpoint of it. Because initially, what I'm speaking on is not from the position of the boater. I'm speaking of, let me just switch this up real quick. So my viewpoint is from me being that co-angler. If I'm that co-angler on the boat, just for me, the way that I would be fishing, I'm not going to be wasting my time thinking about what that boater is doing and letting that piss me off and throw me off of my game. That's my point.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should let it affect you or interrupt the business you got to attend to back there. I'm pointing out that him not understanding that a co-angler could get frustrated in that situation means that he has his head. He doesn't need a proctologist because he's doing the job himself.
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying now. With the way that the boat is angled, he is facing diagonal toward that dock, whereas the other, if he was to swing the boat around to the side a little bit more, then the way that both of the docks would be parallel to the boat. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, and yes, and he could have that target dock that he wants right there still all to himself. Because that's on that front half. That's even less in the front half of the boat. That's like the front quarter of the boat. He could have it pitch, flip, skip to that thing all to his heart's content. Okay, but what he's not doing is screwing the co-angler out of being able to cast to anything shallow. That's all it is. It's just being even halfway fair.
So guess what, CT? I mean, you're explaining it to me. I wasn't understanding what you were saying before, but you see, to me, I like having discussions like this because I wasn't understanding what you were saying at first. And so now I'm starting to understand your point. You follow what I mean? So,
absolutely. And I could tell that, and I could tell you were misunderstanding me. And that's why I went on here. I'm like, no, I got you. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then yes, he has power pole down. And he's not fishing that other dock anyway. So yeah, he could have taken that extra time to angle the back of the boat to where that co-angler can fish that other dock. And the reason why I understand what you're saying right now is because whenever I fished, I believe it was Lake Sinclair. That exact scenario that you're explaining is what happened with me. I had the boat, I positioned it in between two docks, like how he is, but I was to where I was nosed in on the corner of one of the docks. And if the boat was flipped around facing the other direction, the way that the back of the boat was positioned to where it was nosed in the exact same way on the other dock. So that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. So right now,
it's all about fair shots because that boater is always going to get the fish are going to get first glance at whatever he's throwing first.
But listen,
that's the way of things.
You tell you what happened in that situation where I did that. The line went past my shoulder, and the co-angler caught the fish off of the dock that I was fishing.
Look, I'll call him out the same way the other way too.
But listen, so when it happened, I didn't realize that he had. I just didn't think that he had done that until he was reeling the fish in. I got the net and went to the back of the boat, but the fish was coming from the front of the boat, and I was like, how? I was thinking maybe the fish, when it grabbed the bait and just took off swimming that way because I didn't know. Because I was
He slept you.
So listen, I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe I just didn't see it. So and then on top of that, the fish came off right when it got to toward the front of the boat, like about 5 feet or so. But from the trolling motor to the console, that's how close the fish, and then it got off, right? And then so I put the net down and I started walking back up toward the front of the boat, and I was at that point I was thinking like, why was the fish up toward the trolling motor? Because it didn't pull a drag or none of that really happened. So I walked to the front of the boat and I was about to start fishing again, and now that's when I saw the line. And I turned, I was like, hey. I was like, man, listen, I was like, I don't want to cause any problems. I want us to have a good day, And then he was like, all right, sorry about that, man. Sorry about that. So I'm thinking, I didn't even tell you what the problem was. So to me, it's like, you knew you shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, he was wrong for that.
Yeah, and so he didn't want me to say anything, but I was like, no, I need to finish my whole sentence. I was like, listen, look at how I have the boat position. I was like, I can fish this whole dock from the bank all the way to the end of this dock. And I was like, if you look at the way that I put the boat for you, you can do the exact same thing to that dock back there. But now what you have done is I started on the left and was going to cast all the way this way, but you've already started fishing this side and caught my fish, and you didn't even get it to the boat. You know what I mean? So I was like,
oh yeah, I completely agree that it goes both ways without question. I mean, that's why I always tell when I'm trying to mentor young co-anglers, I'm like, I try to break it down for them from top to bottom because they've got to show that respect the other way or they're never going to get it in return.
All right, guys, got to stop the show again. We have the Condemned checking in. He says, young ears, teach us some new words, sir. All right. So I don't even think he's in the fishing game. But sometimes we get up here and have these healthy debates and discussions. Sometimes people want to hear what's going on. They're like, what's going on over there in the fishing world? They don't really see that the same way people can talk about football and basketball, all that kind of stuff, that you make fun of them because I don't watch that. But we can kind of get into it about some fishing stuff too. So shout out to the Condemn. Really appreciate you checking in. But yeah, so I see what you guys are saying now. If he would have changed the boat, but from what I was thinking that they were kind of on a bend to where those docks are kind of not side by side like this, but more at an angle. That's what I was thinking by the way that he was talking. I was thinking that the back of that boat was actually facing that other dock on kind of a turn. That's what I thought initially. But I see what you're saying now, that it may not have been the case. Maybe it was angled a little off. I don't know.
Hey, ACT's on my dad say. I think Money got a hoodooed by his co-angler. That's what my dad used to say.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you though, on two different occasions, I had the boater. One time there was a fish blew up behind me. We're going parallel down this bank. Fish blew up behind me. I turned around to throw on him. The boater threw over my head back, landed that 5.5, and I could have tossed his butt in the water. I was so pissed. And then another time we had a guy sea rigging, turns around and he's like, "Oh, got to face into the wind." Not unless you're fishing backwards, because he turned around. This is pre-power pole days. He turned the boat around to where the outboard, my end of the boat, was facing the brush pile. Threw over my head all dadgum day to hit that brush pile, which left me literally nowhere to cast.
Wow.
I couldn't throw off either side without getting tangled in him. I sure couldn't, not going to do the cardinal sin of throwing up front. So he left him down. And by the way, Eat Squawk mentioned about the boater that said that he lost because of his co-angler. That was that day. Now, what happened was I finally got one freaking cast off, landed a 7-pound fish for big bass.
Wow.
That was the one kicker he would have needed to win. And he was livid. Man throwing over my head off the back of the boat all day long, and he's mad I caught one on my home lake.
And real quick, guys, you know what I'm going to do? I just thought about it. So that what I just explained to you happened. I have the whole thing recorded, and I went back and after that happened, when I got home and everything, I had to hurry up and get home, and I went to that part because I was like, I wonder if that was recorded, and it was. So what I'll do is that snippet and some other things similar to that, I will put that in the members section. So the guys that are members, the members of the Money Team. Shout out to the Money Team and the Patreon. What I'll do is when I get clips like that, I won't put it out for everybody to see, but I don't think you'll be able to know who the co-angler was anyways, but I'll put stuff like that in the members only section so you guys can see it, because you'll be able to see my reaction where I'm looking and I'm like, how do you reel it from the front of the boat like that if he was casting back that way? And then when I go and cast and you see the line go back up again, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? But yeah, I'll put that in the members only section, guys. All right. Okay. So what were we saying again? So we were back. Let me do this. Let me get back to the video. Was there something else you wanted to add, Cajun Rod?
Yeah. Now I'll give you kind of an opposite side of that. I had a boater in Toyota this season. He was on him. I mean, great guy. He had like 24 pounds, and he went down this one bank and missed a couple fish. And he's come back and he says, "Hey man, hit that bank." He run the trolling motor and let me try to catch some fish he missed.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's class act.
Oh yeah.
I've had something similar too. That is class act when you get one of those guys.
Yeah.
I've had 2 or 3 times.
Those are the fellas I root for. You know what I mean? And I've had a couple take good care of me throughout the years too. One of them knew that I got a bad shake with that particular club when I left that club. Next is a state championship tournament. I'm walking down to the bank in the middle of the night, or you know what I mean, wee hours in the morning, trying to find my boater beached up there. And I see this dark figure kind of coming to my way between me and the shore. I'm thinking, uh-oh, what's this? Ends up being this gentleman that was just so good to me. And by the way, he was one stop shy of the classic on 3 different occasions. He was such a bad man. And he kind of cuts me off there at the bank. He reaches out to shake my hand. He goes, "Go kick their arses." And I mean, and that pumped me up for that day too. This gentleman has since passed, and I'm telling you, he was a true, I mean, true ambassador of the sport. You know, he was that good of an angler, and he took care of his coves in an epic freaking way.
Gotcha. All right, let's do this. Let me hop back into the chat real quick. Want to give a shout out to Stephen Walden. He stepped in with a $5 super sticker. So he is the sponsor of the live stream right now. And like I say each week, guys, whoever gives the largest super sticker, super chat during the live stream is the sponsor of the live stream, because this channel is supported by you guys, the viewers and subscribers of the channel. All right, so shout out to you. And let me just hop in the chat real quick, because I see these, they're definitely getting active in here. So I know you guys can see it. And what I like to try to make sure I at least pull the Money Team comments up, but I see a few other regulars that are in here, so I'll try to get to some of those too. But let me hop in here real quick. And we know Joseph is always in here causing problems. He says, you ain't lying. Some folks just think they are fish whisperers. So I don't know what they were talking about that. And then he said, Iaconelli told me to pack light as a code. So I brought 3 rods, 2 Ziploc bags, and 1 Ruger. Oh my goodness, Joseph, where do you come up with this stuff, man? All right,
in all fairness, it was Mike Iaconelli, so I can understand the Ruger.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, so Eek Squat says, I think everyone should have to fish as a co before fishing as a boater. It's a good learning experience. So yeah, I mean, to me, I think a lot of people do use the co as a as that stepping stone to hop on to the boater side of it. But I mean, of course, there's probably some guys who skip that step and just hop right into it.
Yep.
All right, look at CT. CT, what are you doing in the chat? He said, I have a story to tell. Not good. Okay, CT stories. You might need to do a video on that one. Excuse me. All right. Then, guys, we have Mark Scott. Mark Scott checking in. Shout out to the Money Team, very strong supporter of the channel. He says, hi, everyone, just joining the party. Oh, yeah, so we're in here getting started. I mean, we've been rolling for about an hour. See, that's what I'm telling you guys. Once we get in here and get started, this time just kind of flies by real quick. We've only looked at a few clips, going through the chat a few times, but I mean, we're getting into the conversation. All right, let's see what else Joseph has to say. He says, can you talk to my sponsor for me? Money got the wifey mad. Oh, my goodness. What did I do?
Hey, Joseph, just take her to Patty's. It'll be all right, brother. You'll be good.
All right, so Joe Winkler says he saw that video yesterday. Shout out to Joe Winkler, strong supporter of the channel. Make sure you guys check out his fishing series. Just drop that in the chat again for people that don't know about it, Joe, because I see that we have some new people in here that don't quite know about that tournament series that you have going. All right, Stephen, he says he loves St. John. So that is in reference to the clip that we've been watching. That's the video that they're referring to. All right, so Eek Squawk says, does he drive a boat? Luke, he does his truck, playing with his cell, recording and driving. Okay, so you're getting on him about how he was driving, recording, doing all that good stuff. Multitasking. Didn't somebody just say they were multitasking? All right, let's see. I'm just trying to get through the comments real quick, guys, just to make sure, I show some love to the people that are hopping in the chat, supporting the channel. Let me see what else we have. I saw we had, who is this right here? We have the Bass Hunter checking in. Now, he's going to be out there on Sunday too, guys. So remember, Sunday, 7 a.m. before the football game. I know a lot of you guys may watch football too. So Sunday, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m., we will be live on the water going at it again. Bass Hunter, he's out there trying to get some revenge on me. I don't know if you guys saw the one of the last ones that we had, but the title of it was Revenge, because Bass Hunter took me out there and whooped up on me a little bit. So I had to come back and get him back. So he's trying to get his get back at me again. So we'll see what happens with that one, guys. All right, so he says, can we agree to disagree? What are we agreeing to disagree on, Bass Hunter? This is going to be.
Now, I'm interested to know about that, Bass Hunter.
Yeah,
I like you. Don't change my mind, man. I like you. You're good people.
Yes, I'm curious too. All right, let's see. So Stephen, the current sponsor of the live stream, he says Live Scope has opened our eyes. They can see what the majority of fish are doing. So that is true. That's definitely true. All right, let's see what else we have in here, guys. Just trying to scroll through here real quick, make sure I don't miss any of these good chats that are coming in. So Joseph says, oh boy, let's go. I got the popcorn. Send it, CT. Joseph is always trying to get something started. All right, he says, CT, did you just say he's what is that? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Look at this. All right,
I'm out.
Yes, I did.
All right, Squaw says he said that you couldn't catch fish unless you're throwing at the bank, but is purposely fishing straight at it. He is not being fair. So I understand what you guys, and so this is what I was kind of disagreeing with CT on just a minute ago, because to me, just because somebody says that does not mean that's what it is. That to me, even whether I'm the boater or the co-angler, he to me is saying what is working for him. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when I was fishing as a co-angler, I would see what my boater would be doing and how he would be catching fish. Sometimes, and maybe that's why I fish offshore now, because as a co-angler, that boater could be fishing a dock and I would turn, and maybe it was just from lack of experience in a way, but I would turn and cast my drop shot straight out into open water and I would catch fish that way. And I had at least two of the boaters that I would fish with, they would turn around and they would look and be like, did you cast out there? And I'd say, yeah, why? And they wouldn't say anything to me. So I would just keep doing it, but I would catch fish that way. So where that boater may have found a pattern for him, that does not mean that that co-angler needs to be fishing or should be fishing that same pattern. You follow what I mean? Because a lot of times you'll hear co-anglers say, well, hey, I see the boaters throwing this. I'm going to throw something different. So are they going to throw something different in the same areas where that boater is throwing?
Yeah. Let me tell you, you said you did 2 years as a co, right?
Right.
I did 18.
But my 2 years were compressed. It was like, you know how you can get concentrated orange juice? So I had concentrated.
Yeah. See. Let me tell you what I learned though. But see, I fished teams tournaments, yeah. But for the majority of what I fished too, though, was split team and individual. Where yes, you had a heavy boat thing on the line, but you were also fishing for Angler of the Year and your chance to your top 6 state championship with Bass Federation against the guy in the front of the boat. So you're going both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my job to fish the same water column, same speed, same cadence, but switch up the baits to give the fish a different look. I had to make co-angling a profession. And I'm not going to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I think I got pretty decent at it.
Okay.
And there were plenty of times where I beat the pants off of my boaters. Now it was fair boat position. I might have been throwing at very similar targets, parallel on the shore, picking up stragglers that he missed. But if there was one tournament in particular where I did just awesome. Now I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to make it as quick as possible. Guy was fishing docks with a jig.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was an incredible jig fisherman, like best of the best. There was no way I was going to throw a bass jig behind him and those fish were going to give 2 looks at what I was throwing. So I did a shaky, a little finesse behind him. I'm not kidding you when I would say that he would watch fish go from his jig to my shaky head and back, where we literally had fish going from the back to the front of the boat all day long. We plowed them. I mean, we put a hurting on him to where he was first place. And he was first place. The guy I was just telling you all about earlier, that other awesome freaking angler that met me there on the bank, he was second and I was third. And there was a championship tournament. That's how you do that.
Yep.
So, yeah, you might have the occasional co-angler that wants to fish something different and just will completely shy away from the guy in the front. But I'm telling you, after 18 years, it's not how you compete as a co-angler.
Gotcha.
You can't make check doing that.
Yeah, and so that could be along with kind of that part of that poll. That could be that more skill versus less skill. You know what I mean? So it's always levels to certain things. So maybe at that point you have definitely figured something out. You know what I mean? That will work for you. But so do you think that I'm just completely off whenever I say because that boater? I mean, on a scale of like the Kevin Van Dam of the world versus the person that is just fishing, because I mean, a lot of the guys, he could be one of the top anglers. I don't know if anybody knows who the guy is that's in the video, but what is it about him that would make him, you trust 100% what he is saying that he has found that is the thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I hear what you're saying now. I didn't think of that. I hear what you're saying now. I think it's, I think a lot of it is going to be out of respect. There were times I got to pre-fish. There were times I did what I had to do to go pre-fish and find my own water. And there are lots of times I was able to bring boaters to better spots than what they had, and we did real well. But that wasn't the majority of the time. I think the majority of the time, as a person who's a full-time co, you're having to trust that the guy in the front knows what he's doing. And it doesn't mean you're a lesser angler. Especially you put as many years in as I did. It doesn't mean you're a lesser angler. It means that you're having to trust that that person knows how to pre-fish, knows how to put a game plan together. And unless you're in an old school federation tournament, okay, where the co-angler got to pick half the day's water, you're stuck having to go where that boater's going. So all you can do is blindly trust in what they've got going and make the best out of it. Match speed, match cadence, match basic presentation. Don't get me wrong. If the guy in the front of the boat is just choking on it, then you turn around and I would immediately go reaction, do whatever I could to try to stir up a fish or two.
Right.
There are those times. They're not always going to be right. No, but I think you have to trust the process, and you have to trust that guy knows what he's doing. Doesn't mean he does. Oh, I've been in plenty of those spots. Doesn't mean he does, but you got to roll with it.
So what do you think, Cajun Rob? So you kind of hear where I'm a little over here and CT is kind of explaining. So from your experience, how do you handle that? Do you like that this boater saying, hey, if you don't cast towards the bank, you're not going to catch fish? Do you rely on that 100%, take it as gospel that boater, even if he does catch fish that way? Like I said, I still don't think that is the only way that fish can be caught there. But what do you think from your experience?
Now, usually if like my boaters, I kind of break it down top water, middle, and bottom. If he's doing like top water, I might do middle or bottom. I actually had a tournament on Dale one time. Guy was hitting the bank, and I said, I'm going to try something different. So I dropped a drop shot down beside the boat and just was dragging it and just started whacking them. And finally, my boater turned around and said, what are you doing? I said, drop shot. And he says, show me how to do it. So I showed him right there in the boat and did it, and he started catching them. So, yeah, you kind of got to do your own thing. Like I said, CT's right. And I said, this year I've had a lot of confidence on drop shot, shaky head. So no matter what, I'm going to try that, But it's very rarely you can catch, like you said, with the jig. If your boater, like CT said with the jig, if your boater is doing a jig, don't use a jig. You're not going to catch them. So do a shaky head, like you said, or Cinco or drop shot. So absolutely.
All right. So let's hop back into the chat real quick. So we were at Bass Hunter says, can we agree to disagree? So we're wanting to know what is the agree and disagree part. We're wanting to see what that is. So maybe he's already answered that down in the chat. All right. So Brendan Neal says, I like it. All this has convinced me to stay away from the boater co-angler business. So he's not going to get into it at all. All right. So Hog Catcher, he will be out there on Sunday, 7 a.m. guys. He says, I had that happen to me also. All right. Let's see what kind of problems is Joseph in here stirring up. He says, "Hey Bass Hunter, you got beer and chips on your boat." Okay, I knew it. I have to read Joseph's stuff first. All right, so we have Bass Patrol Nation says, "I fished as a co-angler for 4 years and have only had a handful of boaters position the boat to accommodate my fish." All right, yeah, and so that's kind of interesting too. So when you're on the co-angler side and you say my fish, for me, I would say, how does a co-angler, if you haven't fished with that boat, unless you pre-fished with that boater, how would you have your fish? Because that boater could take off and go way to the other end of the lake or different part of the lake. Or are you thinking, for example, if that boater is fishing in this situation where he is fishing that dock and then the boat is not angled correctly to where you can fish the dock behind you when he's power pole down. So that would kind of make sense in that situation. Maybe that's what he's saying in that. So the fish that he would be able to target as a co-angler, that the boat is in position. So that would, to me, my understanding of it would fit into the scenario where we just talked about the position of that boat on those two docks. All right, let's see. Then we have hold on. Let me slow it down a little bit. Trying to hop back into the chat, guys. Where did we stop at? Hold on 1 second. Just bear with me, guys. This is a live show. I want to give a big shout out to everybody for tuning in. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. is when we generally have these live streams, but I had some technical difficulties going on Tuesday. So I wasn't able to do that live stream. So what I did to make up for that, I went out on the water live this morning, had a chat with the fellas out on the water, the guys and gals out on the water this morning. And then we kind of had to talk about it and said we'd do the makeup live stream tonight. So that's pretty much what this is, guys. And let me see. I'm just trying to find my place back in here real quick. Okay, I just saw it. All right, so let's see. So we were at Bass Patrol Nation says, I fish as a co-angler, got that one. Then Bottom Line Outdoor says the boaters that only find waters for themselves are the same ones that doesn't understand the concept of growing the sport. All right, so
boom.
Look at me. All right, so if the person is, and I guess it would be kind of like with the intent too. So if a person is purposely doing that versus somebody who maybe their skill level just isn't up there yet, that would be kind of a different thing because they're doing the best they can. But somebody else that has those skills but is not going to do that is what you're saying is kind of hurting that the sport because you're not being sportsmanlike to that co-angler. If you can and don't versus if you don't know how to and don't are two different things. That kind of making sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was clear, being clear with that so people understood what I'm saying because I've fished with people before that that person can catch fish and they can turn around and say, how many fish do you have? Okay, let me help you catch your 2 fish. And I'm like, I don't, at the time as a co-angler, I was like, I don't know how they're able to do that. I fish with people that are struggling to catch their own 1 or 2 fish from the front of the boat. You know what I mean? So there is different levels to that. But I understand what you're saying. People that can and choose not to purposely.
Yeah. There was one time at a state championship, I got out 3 fish ahead of my boater, 3-0. And he turned back and looked at me. And you know what? I love the guy to this day for how I handled it. He looked at me and goes, I know you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to front end the hell out of you for a little while because I got to catch up. He goes, as soon as I catch up, we're going to be right on back going parallel. But the fact that he actually had the what's to say that, I didn't fault him for it. I'm like, I got you. No worries. You go get caught up. He got his 3 fish. And we were right on back to being even Stevens. But guess what? I still beat him in that state championship.
All right, then look, we got Joseph hopping in here. He says, Cajun Rob, I see you grinning. I know you have something on your mind over there.
Team Ruger, brother. Team Ruger.
I see. Look, I knew it. I was getting ready to say, look, you got to watch out for Joseph. Joseph is throwing an alley-oop for something. Since Cajun Rob is on the live stream this time, both of them are in the chat called the problem. They're doing it live and in the chat. All right, then Stephen Walden, shout out to Stephen. He is the current sponsor of the live stream. He says, mostly what is affecting a co-angler's ability to fish is speed. What I've experienced is this simple thing affects is what you can fish effectively. This is different from the boater. All right, so yeah, that's something that I've heard a lot. People being close to the bank and moving real fast.
Yeah. It's speed's a big factor. I mean, I've had it in the opposite, but the majority of the time I absolutely agree. Speed's it. But you just, as a co-angler, you just got to learn how to keep up with that. As long as there's fair boat position, do the best you can do.
Right. Yeah. And so let me just hop back into, let's check this poll real quick, just to see where we're at with this poll. All right. So the question was, does a well-skilled, versatile co-angler or a less skilled co-angler have more complaints? So who will have more complaints, a well-skilled or a less skilled? And guys, okay, so yeah, it's still about the same. So we have 48% coming in saying that the more skilled will have more complaints, and 52% saying the less skilled. And so for me, whenever I was a co-angler, I remember one of the boaters. He had been a boater for a while at this point, but what he had told me, and let me just drop this down real quick. He explained when he was fishing as a co-angler, and I believe he was fishing a BFL or something like that. But what he said is, he had got on the boat as a co-angler, and the boater was like kind of fishing fast. He would run and gun. He would go to a spot, he would stop, and he was fishing maybe docks or something like that, but he would go around the dock. So he would maybe fish, cast maybe like 3 times on a dock, and he would pack up and leave. So what my friend was telling me was sometimes he would he would hop up and he would make one cast, and the boater would be ready to take off again. So he sit back down, and he was like, after dock, the more docks they hit, the mad he was getting more and more mad with each stop, because he was like, he isn't getting a chance to fish anything. And so he said at the end of the day, that he had to sign a ticket or something like that. I don't know if so they still do that in the business now.
Hell yeah, BFL
Weigh slip.
At the weigh in. Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's why
Yep.
they tell you need to weigh in with your co-angler. Okay, so he said at the end of the day, when they get back to the ramp, the guy's packing his stuff up and he's getting his stuff to get off the boat, and he said, he was like, you know, you didn't really talk to me all day. You didn't allow me to fish. I didn't really get to cast anything. So I'm just letting you know right now, I'm not going to sign your ticket. And if there's anything you want to do about it, we can go ahead and hop off the boat and handle it before we go up to the to the weigh-in. And I was like, wait a minute. So what are you talking about? He was like, so we got off the boat and they went at it. But my friend,
that man is my hero.
But my friend was a black belt. And he said, so he basically, after they did what they did, they're walking side by side up to the scale. And as they're passing people, they're stopping and looking like, what just happened here? Because he said the guy's face had like blood all down his mouth and his nose and on his shirt. And they walk up to the thing. And so he just tells them like, yeah, I'm not going to sign his ticket. He explained what happened. And then that was pretty much the end of it. And so he told me that what he was wanting me to understand from that story, he was like, the more experience I got, the more I realized, and maybe at this point, whether he's telling me this, maybe he now fishes like that. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe he does fish fast, because what he told me, he was like, knowing what I know now and looking back to whenever I did that, he said, I realized that I just wasn't good. He was like, that guy, whenever he would make his 3 or 4 casts, he would make his cast and they would go where he needed them to go. He would skip that cast and it would go where he needed to go. And so he would pack up and leave. He said, I would try to make my cast and I would miss. I would hit something, or I couldn't get it under there, all that kind of stuff. So he was like,
that's a little different.
Yeah. So he was like, I realize now that on my part, it was a lack of skill to where, yeah, if the guy had slowed down and done things a little differently based on his skill level at the time, he possibly would have had a better day. But he's saying that he started realizing, and that's why I put the question the way that I did, because I was thinking about that story.
Gotcha.
So later on, he was like, yeah, I feel bad about what I did, because now I realized that I was the one that was lacking in the skills. But I'm thinking like his nose is still busted up.
See, let me tell you something. You know what you call that though, right? And I want any boater out there that may be thinking that they're all that and that they don't need to promote the sport and be just a gentleman to their co-angler. I want them to remember this story as the FAFO co-angler edition.
We need a picture.
I mean, that
stage.
Yeah.
What was that? Say that again, Rob.
I say we need a picture of both of them on the weigh-in stage and put them together. Now that would be classic.
Yeah. It's hold the bell, hold the waist slip up behind him, back behind him in the middle.
Yeah, because I guess in the end, whether the co-angler was right or wrong, the guy's face was still busted up at the end of it. So I was like, oh man, that wasn't good. Oh my goodness.
CT says the COVID, the BFLs don't do that anymore. You don't sign weigh slips since like COVID. That's kind of took something away from the co-anglers, I guess I'm saying.
Gotcha. All right, let's do this, guys. Because I do need to. I see we still have a nice little crowd here. I want to get back into the video and just get to the meat of it, of where the problem came in with the co-angler in this situation, and just we'll get some people's thoughts on it. So just bear with me. Let me get the screen set back up and go back in time, because we did kind of jump ahead a little bit. All right, hold on 1 second, guys. Let me just find it. Actually, first, let me get the right video up. All right, hold on, guys. Let me just bear with me real quick. This is a live show, so sometimes it takes a minute to get things set up. Just getting things queued up. Okay, so here we go. So I think this is the part where the boater has, he's been doing his thing, and he has a plan to where he's going to fish a certain type of way. And let me just make up a time real quick. But let's say he's going to fish a certain type of way until like 9 or 10 o'clock. Then from there, he's going to switch up and fish a different style. And then towards the end of the day, he's going to try to do a different thing. That's kind of like his plan for the day. But this, I'm not sure what part of the day this is, but he just finished fishing an area, made a run to this new part, and he's about to finish part 1 of his plan for the day. And this is what happens on the next stop.
If we get here, you hit the wall, but I'm in dead water. So I'm in dead water until you finish hitting the wall, and then we move.
Not to say there's not a bass under dock. I've seen them cruising all while I'm fishing the seawall.
It's all about you, bro.
It's all about
the tournament too.
I guess, but.
All right, so what that co-angler is saying, he's complaining about him fishing. It sounds like he said the walls or something like that. And then he's saying that it's not all about you, it's about me too. And the boater is saying, well, there could be fish under these docks. So it looks like he's going down parallel. And yeah, so it's like the co-angler at this point is kind of upset about the way that the day is going. So that's where they're at right now. But let me just play a little bit more of it.
I'm not getting in. I hate to say it, dude. It's part of being a co-angler. It's just.
Well, it's not my first rodeo, buddy. And there's some boaters and there's some boaters, you know. Shit. Yeah, let's leave it at that, bro. Yeah, I think I want to go.
20 miles from the ramp. And if I get back, I'm not gonna have enough fuel to fish all the rest of my trip. So, like,
you want to fish by yourself? It's so good, man. But I'd rather just, go home and watch the pool.
well, when you go home, I can't fish by myself.
Woo!
You mind pausing it?
Did
Go
you
ahead, I'm
what
sorry.
he said? Yeah. So what that co-angler just said is, take me back. I want to go home. And the boater said it's to a 20-mile run back, and I won't have enough gas to go back and then come back here again. And on top of that, even if he did have enough gas, this tournament style, if that co-angler is not on the boat, then that boater's day is done. He is over. They will not allow him to go back and fish by himself. All right. So CT, you were about to say something?
Yeah, can you switch back to that view real quick?
All right, here we go.
That view right where you paused it. I want to see that real quick if you don't mind.
Oh my goodness. Hold on just a second, guys.
Holy crap.
We gotta stop the show. We have LJ, the Drop Shot Jedi, with Lanier Bates coming in strong, showing support for the channel. He has dropped a $50 super chat, guys. He says, always a great show. Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, LJ.
Really appreciate that, guys. And if you guys do not know, yeah, tip a hat to that. If you guys do not know, he was the sponsor on, believe it was the last On the Water Live. We will be doing another one on Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m., guys. And James Harmon dropping that $50 super chat. He is with LanierBates.com, guys. And I think it is still active. If you go to that website, LanierBates.com, use MoneyBass as your coupon code, then you will get a 15% discount. If for any of you guys that fish Clear Lakes and you know about that Seville swim bait that is discontinued, but the people who know about it, you know about it. They have a bait called the Hard Swimmer. When you look at it, you are able to burn that bait. It is a real nice looking bait. And I did show that on the, actually earlier this morning, whenever I was out on the lake, guys, that chrome bait that I was showing you guys, that is a Lanier Bates Hard Swimmer. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you go and check out that LanierBates.com and use that coupon code. So he did set that up. We have a lot of great companies that are coming in and, sponsoring these On the Water Lives, guys. And what we do is the anglers actually use the baits from those companies to catch fish, and they get bonuses whenever they catch fish from that. So big shout out to LJ. Really appreciate that. All right, let's see. He has a few other things. And LJ, I hope LJ and Joseph do not link up, because they will tear my chat up with the comments that they say. So I don't know if they know about it yet, but I'm keeping an eye on them. Joseph says LJ bringing the heat. All right, then let's see. LJ also says the fun is worth the money. Oh yeah, we try to have a good time in here. All right, then LJ also says, Ryan, less skills for you. Hey man, wait a minute. I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know what you guys are talking about in there. All right, look at CT. CT is in the chat too. All right, And let's see. Joseph says, LJ, you're gonna jump on that battleship and watch the show while they going at it. Oh yeah, I think LJ will be in the chat. He always is dropping some gems in there when we're catching those dinks. Sometimes, I mean, who knows though? We might be catching some of those hogs on Sunday, guys. Big shout out to LJ. Really, really appreciate that. All right, so let me just drop that down real quick. But yeah, want to give a big shout out for that $50 super chat. And of course, I have to go in here and do a little work. So just bear with me, guys. What I say is each week, whoever gives the largest super chat during the live stream is the sponsor of that live stream. So right now, let me just put lanierbates.com. Let me know if that's okay with you, LJ, or if you want me to put James Harmon. But I will put lanierbates.com in here. And so that way, the guys that are interested can go to lanierbates.com and make sure you use that coupon code MoneyBass, guys. I think it is still active. All right, so now if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, you will see special thank you so much to the sponsor of the stream. Hold on. Let me put some respect on his name. Hold on just a second. Let me fix it real quick.
Notice how long that sponsorship lasted there, LJ. He went there, already did it up wrong. Check it out.
Hey, I have to put some respect on his name. Okay, there we go. All right, special thank you so much to the sponsor of the stream, lanierbates.com, guys. Make sure you go and check them out. All right, and let's see what else did LJ have to say. He says, I'm waiting for the right time to take my sniper shot. What are you guys talking about in this chat? All right, so were you saying something, CT? He got me. I had to stop. Yeah, so what were you saying?
No worry. That's awesome. We appreciate you, LJ. That's freaking awesome. Coming in there, dropping that 50 spot. That last image you had right where you paused that video, can you just bring it up right there where it was paused? I just want to point out something. Gotcha. I'm not for the way the co-angler handled the situation. Don't mistake me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for that. However, notice the co-angler had just mentioned the walls before. I love this dude's editing job. He's really trying to make himself look good, but it ain't working.
Drop some knowledge
now,
on CT. What do you see?
You notice how that co-angler had mentioned something about how he didn't like how he was fishing the walls, blocking him off.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he's doing. The boat's up there front, facing the walls. He's not throwing at the dock over to the right. He's throwing at that retaining wall. He told the co, well, there could be fish under this dock. Absolutely. I look at that dock. I'm going to throw at that freaking dock if I'm in the back of the boat. Right. However, moving at the speed he's moving, power fishing, chunking and winding at that wall, he's moving at a rate that the kid can't fish that deadgum dock. So he's talking that mess, but he ain't backing that mess up. If he wants to do that, I'm all for it. If he wants to slow down a skosh and let that dude hit that dock as he's going down through there, no harm, no foul. But he's sitting there chunking and winding, burning towards that deadgum retaining wall, telling the dude, hey, hit the dock, not even giving him a chance to hit it. Sorry. He self-snitched by making this video.
Yep.
Because anybody that breaks it down, listens to it, and watches what he's doing, he done self-snitched. So I saw the comments in his comment section. His people are coming out for him, but they can be brainwashed. I ain't going to be. I know what I'm seeing.
Shout out to the Bass Geek checking in. He says, man, did I say I hate being a co-angler yet? All right, so what do you think? So now you see the setup. Let me just back it up just a little bit. So he's already up there casting. Let's just play it again real quick and let's take a look.
Well, it's not my first rodeo, buddy. And there's some boaters and there's some boaters, you know. Shit. Yeah, let's leave it at that, bro. Yeah, I think I want to go fuck this shit.
20 miles from the ramp. If I get back, I'm not gonna have enough fuel.
To fish that dock effectively, he would have to throw up towards that boater.
Yeah. Yeah, he's moving.
Well, that's very, very fucking convenient.
I'm sorry, but there's no co-anglers I've ever met that have ever wanted to go in early. I fish like this all the time. I had a girl on the back of my boat all day.
I don't care about anybody else, bro. I'm here. I pay money to fish a tournament, not to watch you fish. You know?
Bingo.
The only one watching me fish is you, 'cause you're sitting
Bingo.
Okay.
See, and now look, and now he's throwing at that retaining wall, squeezing in tighter on that dock, cutting off even any. He just got pissed at what that co-angler said. So now he's like, I'll show you. So now he's squeezing in tighter that dock where the guy ain't gonna be able to get a shot off. He's going to throw behind the boat or way off the left, just open blank water when boater has already said, oh, they are shallow. You gotta be fishing shallow. Anyway, yeah. And by the way, I offered this gentleman, this boater, an opportunity to come on my channel and talk. And so far, crickets and tumbleweeds. I wonder why.
Okay. All right. So, Cajun Rob, what are your thoughts on it? Do you agree 100%, 98%, 10%? Where are you at on what you are seeing here? So, if you were the co-angler on there, so and just real quick, CT, you're speaking as if you are the co-angler on the boat right there, right at this time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm telling you what I would like to do. I wouldn't mind fishing that dock, but he'd have to go slower in order to even get a cast off. And moving in like this, I ain't gonna do it.
All right. So, what about you, Cajun Rob? What do you see? What would you be doing back here?
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of wrong, but I'm like a CT. I'd say, hey, man, give me a shot at the end of the dock. I mean, I've had a lot of boaters say, you know, hey, it's going to be a long day for you. I'm going to be live scoping, but last 30 minutes, we'll stop on some brush piles and give you a shot. So just ask for a shot. Hey, man, give me a shot. You know, I wouldn't have
bingo.
said, hey, back to dock and all this. But I'll say a lot of times I know CT, I know the same way. You got to get a feel of your boater. Some likes to talk a lot. Some they don't want.
Exactly. You're right. It's all about reading the room. You got to get to know, especially if it's a random draw. You've never fished that dude before. You got to talk with him as much as you can ahead of time. Feel him out. You know, a lot of times, my wife, to tell you how we kiss the butts, my wife would always make. You know, most guys don't eat on the boat, but it's a nice effort. My wife would make them a sack lunch. And if I had success on a couple of particular baits on the previous tournaments, I might slide a couple into that bag for them. You know what I mean? Just to go above and beyond. I want them to not mind if they see my name come up again.
Yeah.
Man, so listen, guys, y'all are making it hard on me because for me, I'm looking at it through my lens. If I was a co-angler on this boat, for me, I would pick up a chatterbait and I would be skipping that chatterbait to like how you can see those two. Well, actually, hold on. Let me put it back up here. So when you're looking at this and you can see those two posts, like right to the middle of where the boat is at, right?
Yeah.
I would be skipping a chatterbait or something right in between those two posts as I come through it and just bump it between those two posts and really burn it across there.
You'd have to bump it at the speed he's moving because by the time he gets up any further, you're going to be bumping in post anyhow.
But and I guess what I'm saying is, so I mean, you know, I don't really fish shallow, but if I was the co-angler, I'm not looking at it from the boat side. I'm saying I am the co-angler on this boat, and when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this situation, as soon as he stopped that boat, I would be trying to take my speed clip and take off whatever I had and put a chatterbait on there, and I would be skipping that chatterbait. As soon as those things came by, I would try to skip it to the backside of those posts and bring it between those two posts. And
I agree that's a good idea. But if you don't have one tied on, by the time he gets to that end of that dock and you got one tied on, it's done. You got it tied on for the next one if you get a chance.
But listen, so that's what I'm saying. For me, I still think that it would come down to. Let me just change this back up. It comes down to like you said you were doing it for 18 years. I was only doing it for 2. So obviously your skill level at co-angling is going to be greater than mine is. But what I'm saying is, from what I would see, I would have a speed clip on there. Whenever I was a co-angler, I had speed clips on almost all my rods. Ones that the bait would allow it to be a speed clip. If I was changing out a crankbait or a chatterbait or things like that, something I could put a speed clip on. When I see him approaching that, as a co-angler, I'm eating while that boat is running. This was me, the way that I did it. I'm eating while that boat is running. When I see that guy approaching that, I'm already reaching down in my bag while the boat is still bouncing around. I'm tying my knots like this on the boat. I'm getting my next thing ready because for me, I'm not the negative may be there, but the way my mind sees things, it's hard for me to see. I can understand what y'all are saying, but until you guys said that, I didn't see what you're. Do you understand what I mean? So
No, I got you, but you're also built different, I think, than 95% of the co-anglers out there, and I don't mean that. I mean that in a very positive way.
mhm,
And I think the gentleman in the back of the boat on this particular day was there because he had got to that point by this point, if that makes sense. I
gotcha.
think it was already in his head. He was already chattering about it back there. You know, they were already heated. You know, the boater squeezed into that dock. You know, it already got to a point of no return where this was not going to end well.
Gotcha.
And as you see, it only gets worse from here. So yeah, I got what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. That's a great idea. Have a speed clip. I went fast hatch, but speed clip did me dirty one time in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, a solid double-digit fish in a hydrilla, and I mean, people heard new words come out of my mouth. But I mean, but I get the concept, and you're right. I mean, I think that's a great idea. A chatterbait, something reaction. I'd throw a square bill, bump it up across there, let that thing do its trick. Give me a 1.5 and let me add it. But I think at that point, that young man was already, you know,
Yeah.
when he said there's boaters and then there's boaters,
Right.
he's telling you he's seen the game before.
Gotcha.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he handled it the absolute right way, but I get his frustrations. And he's just trying to make it clear to that gentleman at the front of the boat. There's guys that are respectful and nice and at least don't pretend like I don't exist back here. And then there's you. And that's what he's telling the dude. And, you know, I don't think he handled it. I wouldn't have been as quick tempered on it. And that's saying a lot for me. Trust me, there's been some funny times where I've had to be the voice of reason. If that ever happens, people need to evacuate. And I mean, so I get the dude's frustration.
Yeah, and I mean,
you know,
for me, I'm just looking at those posts, and I've seen how many big fish come off of.
yeah, there's targets. Yes,
off
there's
of those
targets all
posts.
up and down that. Yes,
So
every one of those
my
posts
eyes,
is a target.
yeah, my eyes
Yes.
are seeing that. And like I told you, most of the time I didn't even pay attention to that extent of what the co-angler was doing. I mean, not the co-angler, the boater was doing. I'm focused on what is it that I can do with the situation that I'm in, because I'm here and I'm gonna have to do something.
Yeah, at this point, he's already melted down, though. I agree with you, but at this point, his mind ain't there.
Yeah,
If he had been able to control a little bit better, he might could have pulled that off. And you're absolutely right. Every single one of those posts, I like to fish slower. I mean, don't get me wrong, a 1.5 bumming across it, a chatterbait. I mean, you're probably more fluent with a chatterbait than I am. I'm very picky when it comes to my chatterbaits, but a 1.5. But if I had my way, I would shaky head the ever loving you know what out of that dock. I mean, my shaky head would be intimately involved with that dock.
And so the reason I said that chatterbait instead of a crankbait is because I can't skip a crankbait, but that chatterbait, I could skip that chatterbait at a diagonal between both of those posts to where when it goes through, it's gonna bump that one in the back first, and then by the time that boat is passing the second post, it's gonna bump that second.
And we're different there, because I guarantee you're better at skipping a chatterbait than I am.
Oh yeah.
There's baits I skip, but I don't skip a chatterbait very well.
Man, it's chatterbait. Those things go sliding. Yeah, those things are. It's just like skipping a jig. It'll slide.
No, there is an asterisk on this though. Keep in mind with my health. Do you know how I did the last 5 years of my success? I did it from sitting in the on-plane seating in the back of the boat.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Try that. I dare anybody try that and then come talk to me. But it has its advantages. Disadvantages is you have no casting angles. Advantages is you scoot over behind that steering wheel and you get on target like this, you're down low. You can skip I can skip any other bait for 1.5 miles underneath there at that level because I'm right there at eye shot.
Gotcha.
But with my health, I had to fish from the bottom of the boat. And I mean, I won Angler of the Year from not only the back of the boat, but from the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, so Eat Squawk says, we are only seeing what this guy wants us to see. What has he put this poor co-angler through? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about editing. But yeah, you don't really know what was happening outside of the editing, but yeah, I'm trying to, and I
Oh my
mean, in
goodness.
in a way, for me, thinking as a co-angler, I may not want to understand that part that would tell me that this is a bad situation for me to be in. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe then I
I
would be
got you.
feeling like that guy in the back. But right now, my mind doesn't let me process stuff that way. So yeah, so
You know,
even
and I admire that.
mhm,
I admire the hell out of that, and I can see that, and that gives you a lot of advantage. And I'm just kind of looking at this through from the outside, looking into this particular situation. It's not how I would have handled it. It took a lot for me to say something. I might have my opinions and my thoughts. It took a lot for me to, and honestly, whenever I get treated like this, it would make me turn my game up more.
Yep.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I would push hard. That's how I caught that big fish. Or that other guy got all pissy about on my home lake that time. And he turned around and looked at me and goes, "Aren't you just ready for the effing classic?" Because I dared smile catching that fish. I smiled. The only sin I committed was I grinned and caught that
Man.
fish. So, I mean, I wouldn't let it bother me as much. I would just be like, "Oh, okay, it's like that. Okay." And I would be trying to find a way to one up them from the back of the boat. And that's how I had my success in the back of the boat, is it just pushed me further to beat that guy in the front. Fairly and squarely, without casting over his shoulder, without, throwing on his water, without messing him up or talking and taking out of his game. I would just, now, trust me, once upon a time, and only a couple of times, there was a time where I had to how to put this? I used the nuclear advantage. There was one time I was getting treated so bad and I wanted to shoot his wheels off. When that man turned around, I had my shirt off. He wants to go. Let's go. And I'm going to tell you, it did the trick.
Well,
All of a sudden, I started getting boat positioning.
But look, how long ago was that? Because nowadays they turn around and see you with your shirt off. They may not know what.
See,
like, hey,
you ain't right, Money. What did I do to you? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? And here I was going to ask for a moment at the end of the show to thank you for being such a gentleman for this wonderful, beautiful microphone that I'm speaking into right now, that yours truly provided me out of the kindness of your heart, because you're such a bad man. And then you go and do that to me. Oh my gosh.
I had you, Texas Noop, and Joseph were ganging up on me earlier today. Don't think I forgot about that.
I got you. Yeah, I probably was a little bit of an instigator, so I'll take it. But in all seriousness, though, man, you are the man. You are building a wonderful community, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, Mike, and all you've done for me. And I hope the whole chat knows what a gentleman they have in MoneyBass, because he is a true scholar and a gentleman.
Really,
and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, so guys, look, we've been rolling. We've been having fun. We've been rolling for almost 2 hours. I told you time flies when we're having fun. Want to give another big shout out to Stephen Walden. Hit the channel with the $5 super chat. Coming in, showing some love and support. And he was definitely getting active in the comment section. He's all in the comments. He's out there doing it big on the co-angler scene too, guys. And then, of course, can't forget about LJ, James Harmon with LanierBaits.com, guys. He came in and dropped a 50 bomb on us. Shout out to that. Make sure you guys go and check out LanierBaits.com. Use the coupon code MoneyBass and you will get 15% off. And we had, who was this? Let me see. Where is it at? Had to give another shout out real quick. I think it was, there we go. Joe Winkler, another strong supporter of the channel. He says, MoneyBass, I went to their site and ordered 3 hard swimmers before you gave out the premium discount. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I didn't catch that. So maybe you need to order some more so you can get the discount.
You can never have too much tackle.
Yeah, but shout out to that. Really appreciate you supporting the sponsors that are supporting the channel, that are basically helping us continue to build the channel and build this community, guys. So hopefully, the goal of this, and like I said, I get in here even when I'm out fishing. I'll get into the chat and I'll sit down and I'll be talking in the chat instead of fishing, and the guys out there spanking me on the water because I'm too busy talking to you guys. But I really have fun, interacting with everybody. Like tonight, we didn't agree on everything, but some of the things that I was thinking, it kind of changed my thought process on that, because it wasn't the way that I was looking at things did not allow me to see what you guys were seeing. But now I can see how somebody, with a different mindset can actually have that type of day that guy was having. You know what I mean? But like I said, I really enjoy these exchanges of opinions and thoughts and ideas, because I think it all makes us grow in some type of way. Whenever we start off not understanding or understanding or knowing what somebody else is thinking, and in the end, we kind of move just a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. So that type of thing, really, really appreciate that. And I hope that you guys are finding value, all the viewers and subscribers. Hoping this information is, giving you some guys some type of guidance, some type of, information that helps you out there on the water whenever you're trying to fish. And not just that, because to me, whenever we think about the different mindsets that we were talking about, I think some of that stuff can just translate to life in general, of how you handle obstacles and, hard times when things come up. So yeah, so big shout out to that. Really, really appreciate it, guys. So yeah, we've been rolling for almost 2 hours. Let me just hop back into the chat real quick and just see if, and then Cajun Rob, did you want to say anything? I know somebody said that you were holding on to the juice. You had that little
that's Joseph B, man, trying to stir it up. Hey, Joseph B, I got a shirt for you, man. Check this out. If you can read this, you fishing too close.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
got that for Alabama. I fished the big bass in Alabama, and we had people crowding all around us, man. It was crazy.
I love your room there, Rob. And by the way, that culprit color chart over there.
Yep.
Man, old school. I dig it, man. I dig it. Like what you got going on there.
Thanks, man. I think I won that one time a long time ago, but it's pretty cool, man. That goes back to the 80s, man, back in the day.
That's a good Fire and Ice, man. One of my favorites.
Yeah. Old school great.
There we go.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, guys, and make sure you go and check out Cerebral Tackle's YouTube channel also. So I can't remember if I gave him a shout out whenever we first started. I generally try to do that. So we have Bass Hunter in the chat. He make sure you check out his YouTube channel also. And like I said, we have his name changed in here. I can't remember what it was, but we will have Bass Hunter. He will be on Hog Catcher. There we go. Hog Catcher. He says, I can't wait to open my bail and pull my worm across those posts. So he sees what I see.
All right. Yeah. You got to do it.
So Hog Catcher, he will be out there on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. We will be out there trying to go at it again. We have Bass Hunter, and I will send out a notification for you guys so we can do another Meet the Anglers, because we may have 2 additional new guys that will be showing up on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, guys. Make sure you get up and, hop in the chat like you always do. We'll have a great time with it. Maybe CT will be there, be on the 1s and 2s, doing the commentary.
Yep.
Like he always does, having fun with it. All right, guys. But like I said, we've been rolling for 2 hours. You guys want to give any last words to our peoples before we head on out? What you got, CT? Uh-oh. I'm surprised CT is at a loss for words. What you got, Cajun Rob? Maybe he muted out real quick.
Yeah. He might take a break. But anyway, guys, just treat your boaters like you want to be treated. Respect their boats. Give them the gas money as soon as you can. I've actually gave some baits to my boaters before, started biting them, and I gave them baits for the next day. So just think in your mind, your team. From start to finish, your team. Go as a team, and you'll learn and do well.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely couldn't agree more.
Hey, what you got, CT?
I'm going to Eufaula for the regional. So be at the Eufaula regional in 2 weeks.
All right.
There you go.
Good luck on that.
Go get them.
Thanks.
Yeah. The way I see it is, I couldn't agree more with Cajun Rob. You got to be a team out there. I mean, you drew each other. You're out there, make the best out of it. I absolutely preach to co-anglers that they have to have respect for the boater, for his equipment, for his time that he put in pre-fishing. A good one will take care of you. Will share that knowledge back and forth. And I mean, after that many years that I put in as a co-angler, you know, I beat more than my fair share of boaters, but what I enjoyed most was earning their respect and getting good friends. There was one state championship. I'll never forget this. One of the best stories. Guy on the first day beat the pants off of him, and he was super cool about it. Super cool. So cool that, I mean, I did not pack light as a co-angler. That's one of my sins. However, I kept it out of their way. I had my big old tackle bag I called the anchor on the back deck. We rode with it on the back deck, and I put my arm through the strap as we're going down the lake. Well, he didn't feel comfortable with that. He maybe put it beside us on the on-plane seating because he didn't want it escaping, and I appreciate that because there's a ton of money involved in it. But I was cool with being on the back deck, but that was his preference. That's what we did. Well, day 2, he passes in the line 300 boat tournament, state championship. He passes me and my day 2 boater. He sees my bag on the back deck. He's like, ACT, you know your bag's on the back deck, right? And I said, yes, sir. He goes, are you cool with it being there? And I said, yes, sir. And then he looks at my boater and goes, just checking. He was already like having my back ready to bow up to my day 2 boater after just meeting the man and fishing with him for one day. He and I are buddies to this day. And my boater looks at me and goes, is he one of your club members? I said, no, he's my day 1 guy. Just met him yesterday. He's like, I ain't messing with him. And it was funny. I mean, but to me, that was the joy in it. I've made good friends out of 98, 99% of the boaters I got to fish with. Wonderful people. And I don't want it to sound like to all the co-anglers to discourage them. It's a great way to learn, a great way to get into it. It's just, they're not all bad. The majority of them are good. The vast majority of them are good. Yeah. But it's about when you get the bad ones, knowing how to handle it and standing up for yourself and not getting bullied.
Right.
And
yeah.
That's basically
well said. Well said. Yeah. Because I mean, you build these lifelong friendships, guys. And so what I would say in closing for me is don't think about the obstacles in your way and look at that as reasons why you can't accomplish something. Look at the things that you do have and the opportunities that are in front of you that you can still capitalize on to make that day or that thing in life, not whether it's fishing or not. Don't look at what is preventing you from doing something. Look at the opportunities that you have and how you can use those to best get you to where you're going to meet your goal. So hope that information helps you guys out. Really appreciate you guys for tuning in and coming up on the panel. Shout out to Cajun Rob and shout out to CT. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Make sure you guys tune in on Sunday, 7 a.m. All right, guys. See you on the next live stream.
Y'all take good care. Appreciate y'all.
All right.